Well, I didn't start out to be a photographer. I studied to be a writer, to be a journalist. And in my last year of university, my uncle gave me a camera, and some friend of mine was interested in photography, and I started to think, oh, maybe I'd rather tell stories with a camera. And I don't really remember the moment when I said, oh, I'd rather be a photojournalist, but at some point it happened, and I taught myself photography and hit the streets of New York and started to learn about the way photography works, and was very lucky. Had people all along the way of my career kind of help me out and give me introductions and even gave me a plane ticket to go to a story. And very early on, I realized the power of photojournalism, and I've been just loving the life that I've led ever since. Initially, I was just interested in photography in general, photojournalism in general. My first foreign story turned violent, and I took some photographs that had an impact on foreign policy for the United States. And I started to understand that often in times of conflict, history is made. And I was very much a fan of history, especially to be able to see history for myself. And the world, when I started to turn very violent. And I started to spend a lot of time in places like Yugoslavia and the Middle East and Africa, and started to witness countries being born, countries dying, acts of heroism, acts of atrocity, and I realized the importance of what I thought I could do as a photographer. One of the things that I want to do is to be able to continue taking photographs. So you have to really manage your risks. And that's not only when you're in a violent situation, making sure that you're trying to be as safe as possible in a dangerous area, but also things about understanding about how to survive once you go back home and how to reacclimate yourself to your normal world. And it's can be a very difficult lesson for people to learn, and very painful. And so one of the things I try to instill in the students is that understanding, like, you have to take care of your whole life, and you have to really understand how to balance yourself. And whether you're being shot at or just even living with a family for a number of days or weeks where you're in a completely different world, you have to remember what your reality is, and understand how that when you come back into your reality, it's your responsibility to readjust to those around you. For those that don't understand that or don't do that, you can really very quickly break your foundations that exist in your normal world. You know, this sort of headline, photojournalism is dead, has been certainly around pretty much since I started as a photographer more than 20 years ago. So yes, we are in a time of great change. Magazines are dying, but at the same time, other avenues are appearing for us. And I think that one of the things I try to make sure that not only myself, but the students understand is that this is possibly one of the greatest times to be a photographer, because you really have the opportunity to reach so many more people than we ever did before. And especially as an individual, you no longer really need to be part of a huge organization to reach hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with your work. So for those that are being smart, that are thinking differently, both in terms of their ideas and the way that they present themselves, the opportunities are endless.